Making America great again must begin with making America strong and making America safe again. We have to make it safe. It's not safe. Our country is in such trouble. Under my leadership, the world's thugs and villains and killers and savages were in retreat and running scared. They were running scared. All because you had a president who stood up for America. We took a lot of heat for doing it, too, remember? We took a lot of heat, but we stood up to everybody, and we stood up for Israel, and we stood up for Judeo-Christian civilization and values. Hard to believe you take heat for that, right? Used to be that was a wonderful thing. Today you take heat. Now we'll turn that around. Just like I said years ago, we're going to turn Christmas around. Remember, the department stores they refused to use the word Christmas. They wouldn't say Merry Christmas. They'd say Happy New Year. They'd have red, they'd have everything perfect. I said, where's Christmas? And by the time we finished, they all had Christmas up there. But in 4 short years, I obliterated the ISIS territorial caliphate. They said it couldn't be done. I terminated its founder and leader, al-Baghdadi. They were after him for 14 years. We got him. We got him. I annihilated the senior ranks of al-Qaeda, never to be heard from again. I eliminated Iran's terrorist mastermind, Qasem Soleimani, who was killing our soldiers by the thousands and thousands. He's the father of the roadside bomb. He loved the roadside bomb. I withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal, crushed the murderous Iranian regime with sanctions, and starved Hamas. And we took Hamas and Hezbollah and all of the rest. We took them to task like nobody else has ever done. And they were behaving for 4 years. You didn't see any problems anywhere, including here. I never talked about it when it was happening. I'd be in 3 years, 3.5 years. I said, I don't want to talk about it. But as soon as I got out, I said, nothing happened for 4 years. We didn't have any problems. We got out of the wars. We won the wars. We defeated ISIS. We won all the wars and got out. We brought our great troops back home. I choked off the money to corrupt Palestinian organizations and stood with Israel like no president in history, recognizing the eternal capital, opening up the American embassy in Jerusalem, and recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. That was a big deal. And with the historic Abraham Accords, we had peace in the Middle East. Can you believe that? We had peace until this character came along. He didn't know what he was doing. His name was Crooked Joe Biden. And under Biden, it's danger, death, and destruction all over the world. That's what it's been. It's been a disaster. Whether it's the borders, whether it's the Middle East, whether it's Ukraine, everything is broken. The whole world is broken. A great gentleman, the head of Hungary, he said something the other day. He said, they were asking him, what would he recommend to Joe Biden to straighten out the world? He said, there's only one thing you can do. Only one thing. Put Trump back, he said. You better put Trump back. That's Viktor Orban. Everybody heard of him? He's probably the strongest leader. A very powerful man. But he said, put Trump back. We had no problems with China. We had no problems with the Middle East. We had no problems with anything. They respected him, but they don't respect this guy. We have war in Europe and war in the Middle East because we have the weakest and most incompetent president in American history. You know, I used to be much easier on him. Then I got indicted. I said, now it's time to play hardball. They indicted me for nothing. They indicted me because I attacked an election that was rigged and stolen. And everybody knows it, just as they have done. How many Democrats said the same thing in 2016, right? But with them, it's okay. With us, we're not allowed to do that. The heinous attacks on Israel this month would never have happened if I was your president. Zero chance of that happening. When I left office, Iran was weak, broke, and desperate to make a deal. They were ready to make a deal. We would have had a deal within 2 weeks after the election. I told other nations, including China, that if you buy oil from Iran, you can't do business in the United States. I said, I'm going to tariff the hell out of you if you buy oil, but you're just not going to do business in the United States. Every single nation complied. They didn't buy any oil. Iran's terrorist regime was bankrupt. It was hemorrhaging money and could barely pay the salaries of the radical Islamic thugs. Couldn't pay. They had no money. I hammered them. In fact, today there was a big article. With Trump, Iran was broke. With Biden, Iran is rich and powerful. It's very simple. He let them all go back, and they're selling more oil than almost anybody in the world. I hammered Iranian oil exports down to record lows. They'd never seen anything like it. But then Biden came in, loosened my sanctions. He took some of the sanctions off, actually, and today Iran is producing more than 3 million barrels a day. That's a lot of money. They got so much money. Iran went from bleeding money, having no money under me, to raking in $100 billion a year under crooked Joe Biden. And on top of that, Biden gave them $6 billion for hostages. Remember that? 5 and 5. I said, oh, finally. Usually it's like, 10 and 1. So 5 and 5. I said, they said, well, there's one other thing. What? They get $5 billion. I said, that doesn't sound so good, does it? So they get 5 plus $5 billion. $5 billion. Does anyone know $5 billion? That's a lot of money. And now these tens of billions of dollars are being used to kill, kidnap, torture, rape, and murder innocent people. Would somebody please inform the worst president in the history of our country,